Here's what Chris Watts says now. His confession to that author, Cheryln Cadle. August 13th, morning of. I went to the girls' room first. Before Shanann and I had our argument, I went to Bella's room. Then CeCe's room. And used the pillow from their bed to kill them. That's why the cause of death was smothering. After I left CeCe's room, I climbed back in bed with Shanann, and our argument ensued. After Shanann had passed, Bella and CeCe woke back up. I'm not sure how they woke back up, but they did. Bella's eyes were bruised. Both girls looked like they had been through trauma. That made the act that much worse. Knowing I went to their rooms first, and knowing I still took their lives at the location of the batteries. Watts admits he conceals facts from authorities. Does not want them being recorded by phone. I don't like saying that stuff over the phone. I'm never certain when they screen my calls. He admits to plotting the murder for some time. August 12th, when I finished putting the girls to bed, I walked away and said, that's the last time I'm going to be tucking my babies in. I knew what was going to happen the day before, and I did nothing to stop it. He agreed to the book in exchange for Cadle's promise she would publish his testimony of coming to God and the forgiveness he received. Is her face getting all black with streaks of mascara? All the weeks of me thinking about killing her, and now I was faced with it. When she got drowsy, I somehow knew how to squeeze the jugular veins until it cut off the blood flow to her brain, and she passed out. I knew if I took my hands off her, she would still keep me from Nikki. They asked me why she didn't fight back. It's because she couldn't fight back. Her eyes filled with blood as she looked at me. April 23rd, 2019. Dear Cheryln, yes, that petition really blew my mind. That people really want to make me suffer like that. Even if they did ever take my pictures, they can't take my memories. An inmate from another institution wrote me about that subject, said if they take your pictures, they would need to take the pictures from the other 500 to 600 people that have their family pictures up on their cell. convicted of the same act. Do I feel like I should be incarcerated? For the act I committed, I most definitely think so. Do I imagine myself ever doing anything like this or be a danger to society? I most definitely think not. The reason the medical examiner found oxycodone in Shanann's system is because I gave it to her. I thought it would be easier to be with Nicole if Shanann wasn't pregnant. I don't know if this was a spiritual visit, but I had a dream. CeCe was dancing next to the chair in my cell. When she was dancing, all of my folders on the chair started moving, and I thought she was in trouble, so I said, "Watch out." "Get away, watch out." Then I woke up. I'm hoping she comes back. I hope everyone comes to visit me. In Europe, law is I would serve 20 years or so for homicide. And in California, after 25 years of imprisonment, you can be released from a life sentence if you've had good behavior. You're so wrong, Watts, about everything. So there's hope for everyone to live outside prison walls. If God keeps putting it on your heart that there is more to the story than what I told the FBI, you're correct. Duh. We already knew this, but you're still lying. I don't know if you want this in the book, or if God does, but here are the things I left out. I was numb to the entire world. I had literally taken my kids to a birthday party. Played with water balloons. Had an amazing time. Sang songs all the way home. Gave them both a shower and ate dinner. Yeah, we know. Cold pizza. We read bedtime stories and sang bedtime songs. Yeah, you're a real Boy Scout. And still, nothing registered. When Shanann had to be somewhere, I always enjoyed taking the girls places or playing outside because it was our opportunity to bond. And still, the night before, I couldn't stop myself. From what I knew would occur the next morning. Bella's eyes were bruised, and both girls looked like they had been through trauma. I repeat, because it's disturbing. Watts said, to his surprise, his daughters came walking into the room while he was wrapping Shanann in a bedsheet. The girls were just kind of running around the house and watching me with scared looks on their faces. He ended up dragging her down the steps and then bundled her into the back of the truck. He told Cadle the girls were watching with the scared looks on their faces. Bella started to cry, and when she did, Celeste started to whimper. What a nightmare this was. I realize now the girls getting up and walking around may have been God's third attempt to stop me. His overwhelming feeling was being so mad they were still alive. He had packed his lunch, a shovel, a rake, a gas can, which led the FBI to question if he was going to commit suicide. I told them I thought about it, but honestly, no. I was not going to take my own life. I dumped Shanann on the ground. Then I walked back to the truck, and with the blanket that Celeste was holding, I put it over her head and smothered her. Watt squeezed Celeste's body through an 8-inch hatch, one of the tanks. I couldn't believe how easy it was to let her drop through the hole. To just let her drop through the hole and let her go. I heard the splash as she hit the oil. Little quiet Bella had a will to live. Out of the three, Bella is the only one that put up a fight. I will hear her soft little voice for the rest of my life saying, "Daddy, no." She knew what I was doing to her. She may not have understood death, but she knew I was killing her. I had to put the girls in the tanks, separate tanks, so they wouldn't get up the second time. He then turned to the task of burying his wife in a shallow grave. When I dug the hole, it seemed a lot deeper than it was. As I pulled on the sheet, she rolled out and into the hole. When I dug the hole, it seemed a lot deeper than it was. As I pulled on the sheet, she rolled out and into the hole. I think she had given birth. She landed face down. I remember being so angry with her that I was not going to change how she landed. About oxycodone, he responded with conflicting stories, saying he had given it to Shanann twice. Once at her parents' house in North Carolina to try to cause a miscarriage. And then immediately, right before her death. He later contradicts himself and said he only gave it to her once in North Carolina. Cadle asked him where he got the oxycodone. He replied, "That is one of the things he will take to his death." So Chris Watts claims he killed his daughters twice, but they came back to life the first time. He states he gave Shanann oxycodone to cause a miscarriage, but the fact is, oxycodone was never found in Shanann's system at autopsy. If he had smothered both girls and they came back to life, the lack of oxygen to their brain, they would have been virtually brain dead. Not be able to simultaneously wake up and ask him what's wrong with mommy, that would be considered a miracle. If he had given Shanann the oxycodone after he killed the girls, she would not have instantaneously become so tired she couldn't fight back. And if they were alive, if she was alive while he's doing this, she would have sensed it, heard it, and she definitely would have seen it on a baby monitor. She definitely would see him smothering the daughters on their beds, if that's what happened, and it didn't. So, he did nothing to stop it? No shit. Here's another little fact. Real grandparents attend funerals and birthdays. Grandparents protect their grandchildren, not pose for photo ops for a book. They don't attempt to kill their little grandkids with razor blades and nuts. My theory has always been Watts had help, and a certain person, Nicole Kessinger, helped. I feel like his whole family knew what he planned on doing. To this, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. When I was putting this together, I literally felt angry, felt like crying, and I feel outraged. Literally, it made me feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, this is the author posing for Daily Mail, okay? Thanks a lot, you guys. Love you all. God bless. Thanks. Bye-bye.